5 billion BC. The planet exists in a raw and primeval state. Continents shift, oceans boil, and a steaming load of molten rock is spewed upon the Earth, unleashing a metallic fury that remained unmatched until a long time later, when, on the same day, on either side of the Atlantic, Ozzy Osbourne and Alice Cooper were born. This, then, is their story. So kick back, relax, and shout at the devil as Liebography presents
The Monsters of Rock!
As in the end, my friend.
It's fast and it's aggressive and it's rebellious, and their parents hate it, which has always been the mark of good rock and roll. If your parents don't like it, it's good.
Before Dee Snider, before Pat Boone, before the Kiss Army Reserves, and even before Odin, there was Ozzy and Alice. Many were unaware, however, that a bitter feud existed between the two that defined the eternal struggle between evil and heavily moosed evil. Each man set out to become the world's most outrageous and bloated rock star, and along the way they created music that made teenagers sublimate their Oedipal desires and forget, however briefly, that they were insignificant white trash.
I look back on my life and I think, you couldn't invent me.
The 12th of 18 unplanned pregnancies, Ozzy grew up in a life of bleak Catholic poverty. If tears were money, then surely the Osbournes would have been millionaires.
We had one pair of shoes, one pair of socks, never wore underclothes, one pair of trousers, one shirt and one jacket, that was it.
All 18 children duked it out every morning for the right to be clothed that day. And on Sundays, his parents even charged admission to watch, giving the country its first taste of soccer violence.
I slipped into my jeans, looking hard and feeling mean.
Across the Atlantic, a young Alice Cooper's life was just as rough because he was the product of a mixed marriage, a mixed clown marriage. Born to a street mime named Dixie and a rodeo jester named Emmett, the citizenry of Clownville constantly taunted a young Alice.
Hey, you actor clown!
Yeah, you are a bozo.
Unable to take this climate of intolerance, the family moved to Detroit for a better life. And one can scarcely imagine how horrible things were if they moved to Detroit for a better life. But the seeds of Alice's bitterness were already sown.
I could think of a few of them that I would like to have right about now, right about here.
A non-circus society would not accept him either, and he decided that if the world expected him to be an evil clown, then that's exactly what he'd give them.
Wait till they get a load of me.
Back to Ozzy!
Meanwhile, over in England, Ozzy was gaining quite a reputation as a troublemaker. He burglarized homes, sodomized cattle, and frequently shoplifted Vera Lynn and Bing Crosby records, which he also sodomized. One day, while burglarizing Paul McCartney's summer residence in Sheffield, he had an epiphany.
I had two opportunities, a life of crime, which all my schoolmates, a lot of them got involved in, or music. And when the Beatles happened, I thought, there's my ticket to ride, you know.
Using the stolen Beatles equipment, he recruited some friends he'd met during a bar glassing and started a band. After a solid month of drinking and a half day of practicing, they dubbed themselves Black Sabbath and landed their first gig, performing at a children's birthday party.
We were very angry about it. We thought, let's scare everybody.
The wee ones were indeed frightened, especially when the band drank every drop of liquor in the house and started freebasing helium from the party balloons.
What the hell are you kids looking at? I'll give you a right good kicking, you little wankers.
Sabbath quickly moved from playing birthday parties to performing in bars and soon received their first big break, opening for Queen on their Hello Sailor tour. Back in the US of A, Alice recruited some musicians from the local methadone clinic and started a band of his own. Their raw style landed them a gig as the house band at John Sinclair Memorial Arena, and while warming up the crowd for a game between the Detroit Pistons and the then Utah Jazzy Bigamists, Alice fired the first shot in the transatlantic war of bad taste.
Somebody throws a chicken on stage.
I see Alice holding a chicken, he's gonna throw it out. And go, that thing is never going to fly.
That chicken's a bird. You know, this is how my logic works. The bird's got feathers. It'll fly away.
Not only did the chicken not fly, but a drunk Colonel Sanders was in the audience.
That was finger-licking good.
The next day I get the call from Zappa saying, did you kill the chicken on stage? And I said, no. And he says, well, don't tell anybody. Everybody loves it.
Back to Ozzy!
When news of this incident reached Ozzy, he decided to stage something even more outrageous during Sabbath's meeting with the president of Warner Brothers Records, former Looney Tunes star Tweety Bird.
I drank a bottle of cognac, I think, and loaded with a crap.
While being introduced, Ozzy grabbed Tweety, and instead of shaking his wing, he stuffed him into his mouth and bit off his whittle head.
And there's all these smiling people going. This carcass was flapping around the table and feathers were flying in the air and they were all like throwing up all over the place. It was quite interesting to see these office people with the ties and this all puke things in the front.
Alice immediately responded by sacrificing a live cow at a gig in India.
I think it's very important to be an innovator.
Attention, armchair dictators and living room couch professors. Liebography needs your help in deciding whose character we should assassinate for next month's show. Call 212-714-8011 or visit our website and tell us which celebrity half-wit or historical towhead you'd like us to slander. Our staff of comedy monkeys awaits your suggestions. Please vote now before you're too drunk to remember.
Ladies and gentlemen, our special guest, Julio Iglesias.
Coming soon to a Liebography near you. Lock up the kids. Coming soon to Liebography. Walt Disney. Coming soon to a Liebography near you. Tired of the useless junk mail and court subpoenas stuffing up your mailbox? Led to believe you've won the Publishers Clearinghouse sweepstakes only to discover it was just a trick to make you subscribe to Cat Fancy magazine? Well, call the number below, leaving your name and address, and you'll receive the one publication with absolutely zero reference to cats, the free Liebography newsletter. Well, there might be a few references to cats, but we are not, I repeat, not cat fanciers. Call today. Meow.
Back to Ozzy!
On tour with Sabbath in San Antonio, Ozzy upped the ante yet again.
And I wanted to take a leak, so I thought, oh, this will do, it's an old war. And lo and behold, it was the Alamo, and this great big Texan guy comes running around with 3 great big cops with the dark visor glasses on, and suddenly I'm being whisked away in this van.
The notorious event gave Ozzy so much press, he then set out across the U.S. urinating on as many national landmarks as possible, including the Liberty Bell, Mount Rushmore, and a stunned Walter Cronkite.
Didn't like it at all. It was horrible.
These publicity stunts helped Sabbath's albums rocket to the top of the charts, but amazingly the band fired Ozzy in 1979, saying he'd gotten too big for his britches. Ozzy assumed they were just jealous of him, but later realized they meant he was getting too fat to fit into his buttless leather chaps. Depressed, he took up residence in this Los Angeles hotel and soon descended into a hellish existence of drugs, groupies, and 99-cent melon bar brunches. He also began waging a very public battle with alcoholism and a very private battle with wetting the bed.
So it takes me all my time to conjure myself out of bed in the morning.
Once Ozzy dried himself and his bed sheets out, however, he burst back onto the scene with Diary of a Madman, a concept album loosely based on his all-time favorite novel, The Diary of Anne Frank. The record was a smashing success, not least of all because his new musical collaborator and chief lyricist was Satan himself.
Make your bed. Rest your head. Don't you know what it's all about? Suicide is the only way out. Get the gun. Get the gun. Shoot, 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 shoot. Get the gun. Get the gun. Shoot, 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 shoot.
I'm speechless.
Let's get it on. Let's get it on.
After years of life on the road, Ozzy and Alice had both grown tired of meaningless sex with different groupies every night of the week and longed for something more. Meaningless sex with the same woman every night of the week. So Ozzy held a much-publicized talent contest for his wife at the Whiskey A Go-Go.
And I just absolutely fell in love with her.
Wedding bells were also chiming in America as Alice Cooper wed the buxom cover babe from Heavy Metal magazine.
There was never a doubt. I mean, it wasn't like, gee, I wonder if I should. Golly, I hope I don't have to give up all this. It was never a doubt. It was just like, well, I've got to marry her.
And the lavish ceremony was attended by Thunder the Barbarian, Ookla the Mock, and Magilla Gorilla. As their popularity grew, Ozzy and Alice were sought out by Madison Avenue advertisers to do commercials, and soon both were trying to outdo each other in endorsement deals. When Alice did an ad for Budweiser...
You don't mind if I drink? Go right ahead.
Just a little insane. A couple shots, I can't feel no pain.
You don't mind if I drink?
Ozzy sponsored a new brand of fortified wine called Iron Liver.
Wine is fine, but whiskey's quicker. Suicide is nowhere liquor.
Sobriety sucks.
When Alice wrote a jingle for tampons,
Only women bleed.
Ozzy did a PSA on the dangers of male menopause.
My health started to suffer. I was getting very bad backaches, and I was urinating blood for a while. I felt suicidal a couple of times. I felt just depressed, just down.
And when Alice appeared on a PBS special with Bob Ross called How to Paint Happy Little Sad Clowns,
Okay, now the fun part of this whole painting procedure. Let's wash the brush, heck. That's the only reason I do this, so I can wash the brush. It's where you take out all your frustrations and hostilities. Shake off the excess.
Ozzy became a TV mogul, starting his own cooking channel, as well as the Ozzy Home Shopping Network.
This right here just covers the forearm, and again, it's just used as garb. And it basically talks about an image related to heavy metal, which is one of power. This right here is a collar that is worn around the neck, and also it could prevent any kind of chokehold if you get involved in a riot and the police are trying to contain the situation.
As the 80s came to a close, however, old-school heavy metal was given the boot to make room for Malibu Barbie bands like Poison and young upstarts like Odin.
Odin, 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 Odin. I mean, I know personally that I want it to go as big as like Zeppelin or the Rolling Stones or the Beatles or like that. I mean, I don't want to be another band. I don't want to be just another fucking band.
You're going to be very, very big in the rock and roll world. Besides a singer's a foxy guy.
If you want to take me serious, you can. If you don't want to take me serious, you don't have to. But all I'm saying is this space, people are going to fucking remember it, okay? And it's going to go down in history, and I know that. I don't want to be like Jim Morrison, but I want to go down in history like that, or Robert Plant, or any of the really bigger people. And I feel that it's within us and within me.
What if it doesn't happen?
It's going to happen.
As a result, both Alice and Ozzy were forced to find new ways to disseminate their evil throughout the world. For his part, Alice began experimenting with one of the most evil forms of entertainment known to man, Broadway musicals. And with help from Sid and Marty Krofft, he produced one of the most successful musicals in Broadway history, Cats.
Welcome to my nightmare. I think you're gonna like it. I think you're gonna feel like you belong.
It had a certain deranged quality to it.
And Ozzy? Well, Ozzy has come up with perhaps the most ingenious way to corrupt today's youth, his own Saturday morning children's show.
When I first met you, didn't realize.
You've been watching Liebography's Monsters of Rock. Good night, and remember, wine is fine, but whiskey's quicker.
That very well may have happened. If it didn't, it's a great story, and I would never deny it.